Now, this one is probably one of the most topical ones at the moment because this isn't just the only industry that's being changed as a result of this. But how will AI change vintage clothing selling? So I'm not really going to question whether I think that this is a good thing or a bad thing. I'll let you guys decide what you think based on how I perceive it will go. So everybody knows that AI has made some massive imprint into most industries at the moment, be it through Photoshop, be it through like online data entry points, be it through people getting flipping dissertations right, whatever it is. AI has just come out of nowhere into people's life to a point where some people would say they don't know how they existed without it, which to me is still crazy. But let's keep to the point. How will AI actually change vintage selling? I think that the way that it's already impacting vintage selling is that there's this underlying convenience with AI. So Shopify and eBay already have this way where you can have an automated description created in whether you want it expert, for sophisticated, casual, for your individual products that you upload. And eBay has the same. I think it's just you can automate it based on some keywords. So you could be like, vintage grey zip-up sweatshirt, and it'll go, feels stylish in this 90s inspired Italian logo. You know, whatever words you put in, it will take them and start to augment it. And that's one micro example of how AI is helping improve that, because I guess what you could look at is if there's less time thinking about, say, product descriptions, there's more time thinking about making more sales through putting it on different channels and things like that. So there's this argument, I would say, where AI would be helping people to streamline more parts of their business. But this is one of the bits that I think, and this, what I do is I start taking these topics out a couple of days before, and I have the conversation with myself about each of these to kind of see where I think about it. So I'm going to see how this analogy lands. Because one of the biggest detrimental things I think for AI is that people don't ever stop at something that's convenient for one thing and will always take it to another thing. So take, for example, like if somebody was a gym goer and someone was like, okay, I can get you abs in like 5 minutes. So like you don't have to worry about abs and you can kind of focus on all the rest of your parts of the body. Most people would go, yeah, that's easy. Like I can't be bothered to do abs. It's there. I'll do that. Just run with me a sec. Once you get the abs and then you start working on everything else, you'd go, well, if it got me that in 5 minutes, surely my biceps and my backs and my legs, surely it could do the same thing for that. And I think that AI has that same impact. If you let that into your industry and find convenience out of it, then you will start to question how every other part of it can be convenient. The biggest reason why I think that AI won't have so much leverage in all of the vintage selling community is because it's one of the industries that works on a physical product basis. So with all of these products that are here in front of me, and most of the people that go out and source and find and things like that, there's an individual finding product nature. You're finding items, you're having to individually take the photos of them, you're having to, for now, upload them to the internet. Certain things, as soon as you probably like leave the physical space of the product, so like finding it, taking photos of it, and you put it onto the computer, that's where you could probably say that AI will have much bigger growth in basically taking the weight off the online space of things. However, the physical side of things, I don't think that AI could help you. AI could, like, I mean, I'm sure people will use ChatGPT already to go, here's my sales from this week, what would you advise I do, how would you advise I, and all this. And don't get me wrong, I'm sure that you would get sufficient realistic advice based on what the AI knows about what you've given it and what it knows about what it's sort of trawled on the internet. But it starts to create this part where people are trying to fast track so much, or people will try and fast track so much part of like their business through an artificial intelligence that the human element gets completely taken away from the beauty of the product. So for vintage selling, for me, what I've realized now is that it's more about being a personal brand, more about being people related, because I think that the one thing that everybody's lost is that feeling of being connected with people. And by being as much of a personal brand, being as much of an authentic person, like doing these videos and just being genuinely transparent about stuff, I think almost holds on to that flame that like we can still be people that aren't just completely like dependent on like software, artificial intelligence and technology to kind of like do everything else. So for me, like with vintage selling, I very much think that there's still a huge human element of this that will maintain. But I do think that the way that AI is going to change, the way that it is going to change vintage selling is that for a lot of people, it's going to speed up the process of the online side of things. There's going to be a much higher volume of online uploads, most definitely, because once people simplify that side of the process, then they will just sort of scale up the uploading side of things. But I don't think that all of the human elements are going to be taken away from it. And I think that it's important to maintain the human elements with it. I think that as long as you use, I'm trying to think of like an analogy to kind of use for it, because I just work better with analogies. But I know that most people would say things in moderation, but certain things in moderation, like using artificial intelligence through your business in moderation, is great. But once you create a dependency for something that's not you, then you lose that self-reliance on what you can do. And I think that for me, I like being in control of 99% of the elements, because I'm the interchangeable factor with that. Whereas if I had somebody else, if I had something that was like, it uploaded all my products, it did all of this for me, it managed everything else, it even told me what to buy and stuff, then what am I even doing? Like if I'm just being this individual person, just kind of like, faceless to it, and with no identity behind it. To me, personally, that doesn't resonate with me. I think that there's more value to be had doing things than giving that value to something else to do it all. But unfortunately, that is just my opinion, and I can't control the way that it will actually go. So I think that over the next few years, it's definitely going to be very interesting how things develop. And I think this year has just shown how much AI itself has really developed. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see for what's going to happen with everything. But I would say that if you are somebody that's using, certain parts of AI you can't already help, like the way that, and artificial intelligence, like the way that you might upload products to something like Depop and it knows the brand and the color based on the picture and the title, and it sort of simplifies that. They're like very low entry simplified parts where it makes sense. But the minute you're talking to ChatGPT and asking it to tell you what to buy, and you've got something that uploads all your stuff and you're doing that, I don't know. I feel like you just might forget the point a little bit. But again, quite a hard one to simplify, this one. And I think that I'm too early to it to make mad decisions on it, because I think over the course of the time, hopefully with this channel, when new information gets announced and things that are quite exciting and sound like pretty good information and good intel, I'll be bringing it to this to have a conversation about it. So, yeah, that was how I think AI will change for vintage selling. Quite a short and sweet one there, but